In this video, I'm going to show you the tools that I take with me on a wedding cake delivery. Hi, it's Karolyn. If you want to learn how to bake and decorate amazing cakes, then I would love for you to join me by hitting subscribe and the bell. I had somebody ask me the other day the kit that I make when I do a delivery, and I don't always bring tools with me, but I filmed this last week or the week before, and when I went on this delivery, it was over an hour away. It happened to be the hottest day of the year. 2 of the tiers were iced in buttercream, and I knew that I was going to have to make repairs. So I am going to show you all the tools that I brought with me on that cake delivery. So let's get into the video. Here's the cake I'm delivering. It is buttercream on the white tiers and fondant on the gray tiers. And I'm going to show you what I need to bring for when I set it up. All right, I found this little plastic container, which is going to be perfect that I can keep everything in. I want to bring a bunch of paper towels. And I also have the toppers, and I'm going to put the toppers on when I get there. So I just want to adjust so these will fit. And I have it on a small cutting board, and I'm going to put it in here. Other things that I'm going to bring, I'm actually not going to put anything else in here. I'm going to leave the toppers in here separately. And then in a plastic bag, I'm going to bring some water, a small palette knife, which will help me smooth out any cracks that may form in the icing. And I also have this little baggie that has a couple more paper towels in it. It has the icing tips, the size icing tips that I used on the side of the cake, and a couple toothpicks that I could use if I need to stick the toppers in the cake, and also a ring, a coupler ring, because this piping bag has a coupler in it and it doesn't have a ring, so the ring will hold the tips on. And this is just the buttercream icing that I used on the cake. And I'm bringing a paintbrush and also a pair of snips so I can snip the skewers if they are too long to go into the cake. And that is everything I need to bring with me. I have the topper and all of my supplies on the on the floor, the very front seat. That way I know it's not going to like slide around or anything. It is very hot out today. It's like 90 something degrees, and I want to make sure that my car is cold, so I'm cooling it off. I have my back seat is down so the air can get all the way from the front to the back. And I have these 2 pieces of the non-slip pad that I'm going to put underneath the cake to prevent it from sliding around. There's some non-slip pad underneath my little yoga box, so that's not going to move around. And yeah, I have my air running to cool my car off before I bring the cake out. Now I have the cake that I can see in my rear view and look back and make sure I can see the cake. So it's in plain sight, and it is there's air flowing back to it, and my car is going to be freezing, so I have a sweatshirt on. I'm just going to try to keep the car as cold as I can as I go on this 1-hour delivery. Finally pulling up at the venue. It took me about an hour to get here. The cake looks good. I got a little hot, so I took off my sweatshirt, and then I was freezing because my AC started working really good. But the venue is outside and it's really hot, so I just need to see what they want to do about this cake, and then I will put the topper on. The reason I didn't put the topper on when I was driving with it is because I go over bumps and the icing will start to soften, and I just don't want the chance of it getting messed up. So I'd rather just put the topper on when I get here. So I'm going to do that now. I look a hot mess. So when I went in there, I forgot to take a picture, but of course a blowout formed on the very front of the top tier. So luckily I had a toothpick. I was able to pop the bubble. I took my palette knife and I pressed the icing back down onto the tier. I dipped it in water and I smoothed it out. And there were some hairline cracks that formed in the buttercream in the 2 white tiers, and I was able to take the palette knife and smooth it out. It is very hot out today. They were supposed to have the cake outside, but I just recommended that they keep it inside. The caterer spoke with the bride. She said absolutely that is fine. So luckily it is in air conditioning, and if it was going to sit outside, it just would have melted. And that's another thing, when it is so hot and you have weddings or something like this, it is just so much better to have the cake covered in fondant, just because buttercream starts to melt and you can have issues with it. And it's just, I know people don't love fondant, but it just makes you, it protects your cake basically. Why did I just scream? It protects the cake. But I will put a picture of the cake. I'll split screen it so you could see. I put the toppers on, and I'm glad I didn't put the toppers on before, and it was, you know, they just would have been all over the place in the car. They could have fell off. Everything was fine, and I can't wait to see the pictures. Hopefully they'll send me pictures of the bride and groom cutting the cake. There's the process of delivering a stressful wedding cake on a very hot day. So there you go. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to film once I got there, and I couldn't even take a picture of the cake. It was just a little hectic once I arrived. And just a note, when she originally ordered the cake, she wanted all 4 tiers to be buttercream. And I recommended to her, since I knew it was going to be over an hour away for the delivery and the time of year, and I just know that at least the bottom tier would have to be wrapped in fondant, and she opted for alternating tiers. So at least 2 of the tiers, since they were wrapped in that silver fondant, I didn't have any issues with them. The buttercream was probably soft under there, but it was okay, you know. So that's just something that I've learned from experience. When you know that you have a delivery far away, it doesn't have to be all buttercream. It's much better that the cake gets there and looks good. And if there's a little fondant on there, then it's fine. You know, it's just, that's what I recommend when I deliver cakes that far away in the hot months. And again, the tools that I bring, it depends on the design, but I usually have buttercream in the color of the cake that it's iced. I usually have a couple paintbrushes, some water, a bunch of paper towels, like that small palette knife, and something sticky like piping gel, or you know, something like that would also be good to bring. So you just have to look at your cake, and it sucks, but you have to kind of decide what could go wrong and what you would need, and make sure that that is all in your kit. So I hope that helped. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. And you can follow me on my social media, and I have my website. Everything is listed in the description below as well. If you want to stick around, you can watch these 2 videos next, and hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. Please like this video if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's cake. Have fun. I will see you on the next one. Bye.